Hey everyone, Sarah here. So I am here to set up my Kanban boards for work. Now the reason why I'm using a Kanban board, and you guys normally, well, you probably see them more like to do, doing, done, or like waiting on, but I like to break mine up into different phases more from like a project management standpoint, because that's really what our team does. I manage people that manage kind of initiatives and projects. So the way I'm setting up my Kanban is more structured around projects. And if you have been watching, you know I treat everything like a project, because a project is a unique set of tasks in my mind. And you might create a routine from a project, but it's not a routine until it's built. So anyway, I'm gonna go into my Work Kanban board, and I just want to walk through the different elements of it first, and then I'll kind of put it together. And my vision is to have this set of Kanban boards, or Kanban. I always say Kanban. I'm from Massachusetts, so Kanban boards. For my entire life, okay? Now, I have 4 different phases, so bear with me here because I don't have a wide angle camera. Each of these whiteboards represent a different phase. And the phases are here to show like progress or momentum. And that's really how I kind of track to make sure that my team is executing what they should be doing. I don't necessarily get involved into the weeds unless they need me to, because they are capable. So I'm just going to walk you through each of the different stages and give you an overview of each of the stages. All right, so I'm not going to like move the camera around, but so this is phase 1 and it's called initiation, and I'll do like some pictures and stuff. So phase 1 is initiation, and this is really where a concept becomes like a tangible idea to execute. So that's really how I would summarize it. The second stage is what is called planning, and this is really where you start to figure out what needs to be done. What are the steps that need to be done? You start to formulate a team, maybe do a work breakdown structure, or even an action plan. People call them different things, but it's basically the steps. You might establish an approach, like are you going to do training? How are you going to roll this out in phases? So those are some of the things that I consider part of the planning phase. The third phase is what I would call executions. This is where you're doing the work. You plan the work, now do the work, right? What is it? Plan the work, work the plan, right? They say. So this is where you're actually executing that work breakdown structure. You're hosting the trainings. You're monitoring results. You might be tweaking. I'm sorry, you're not monitoring. That's the next stage. But you're really like executing it. So you're meeting on a regular basis. You might be figuring stuff out, testing things, and planning like an implementation or a launch of something. So the last stage is monitoring, and this is really where you are making sure that it's meeting the expectations of what you designed it for. You might have to pivot. You're probably collecting KPIs or key performance indicators. You're working any bugs that come up or any issues, correcting any documentation, that kind of thing. So this is monitoring. So this is my vision, these 4 different stages for like everything in my life. Let me see if I can zoom out. Okay, so I just went over the different phases of the Kanban board, and the vision here is to have all of the projects I am working on and my team is working on, and this is just for work. And the reason why I like the Kanban board is when I'm doing one-on-ones, I'm generally at home. I do travel a lot, but my one-on-ones are scheduled in such a way that it's like when I'm home, so I can just kind of look up and see where stuff is at. And I do have a version of this in my OneNote template for the one-on-one, so I just kind of keep track of it. But it also is there to give me visibility if things are moving along or if they're making progress. So if I see something is sitting in phase 1 or initiation for longer than I think it should, then to me, I'm gonna be like, hey, you need any help? What's going on? Is there a problem? Like, what's the roadblock? That kind of thing. So it just helps me see if there's actually momentum happening, and help support in any way I can. So I really like the different phases of, the phase or the stage gates of the project management kind of my dog toy. So I really liked the stages of the project management life cycle because it really helps me just understand if thing is visible. Now, I'm not super rigid with this. Again, it's just to measure stuff at a high level to make sure things are moving for my team. All right, so a few of the elements. So I showed you the boards, I showed you the stages. Now, the way that I'm looking at this is every project is going to have a sticky note, and I'm going to color code them. So like the blue sticky notes are going to be for my family and friends, but I'm just talking about work today. So I identified my work sticky notes as orange color. So when I look up at it, when I see an orange sticky note, then I know it's work. Now, I have multiple team members and I have stuff I manage myself for projects. So how do I know whose is whose? Well, there's another answer for that. All right, so then I use these dots, and these are the same types of tools that I use when I'm doing my like my Kaizen events. So each dot color represents a team member, and I'll just put the color on to reflect who is who. So in this case, the red dot is one of my team members. So I only have 3 team members, and then I have myself, so these work for me, these 4-pack. You can do you can color in a dot, I don't know, whatever, just be creative. It's just a way for me to identify it. But it's just simple stuff you find at Staples. And again, I use this stuff in my Kaizen event, so it's same techniques and strategies, kind of getting used to these different tools because they're very easy and agile to use. So if you want to know, the green is my projects because green's my favorite color. So I just picked green, and then the rest are my team members. So I'm actually going to sit here and start to populate the Kanban or the Kanban board with my team members' work. Now, for the sake of YouTube, I'm just putting project 1, project 2, project 3. But after you guys, after this video, I'm going to take it down and replace it with the actual project names, just because I can't share that. But you guys will get the gist of what I'm trying to accomplish. All right, so you know that I use my mind map in order to kind of trigger some minds in my weekly planning, but that has everything on it. So this is just for active projects, things that are in flight at this time, what stage they are in based on the definitions I gave you earlier. So I'm going to populate mine, and then we'll kind of take a step back and see what it looks like. Okay. So if I'm looking at this right now, this is a very big close-up of me. All right, so in phase 1, I have 2 projects for myself in initiation, or phase 1, and one of my team members has one in initiation as well. So this, to me, if I'm looking at this, I'm like, ooh, what's on deck for my other 2 team members? I'm just curious at this point, like, is their pipeline full? For phase 2, planning, I'm looking at this, and I have myself, I have 1, and then I have 2 team members with several things in planning. So for me, I'm a little worried about my blue team member here because this is where a lot of the work starts to hit, and I'm wondering if he's got too much going on at one time. So I would like to see this maybe spread out a little more. So if you're into the whole lean thing, this is really an example of flow. But I'm a little like, ooh, he's got a lot going on in one stage, and that's like a heavy lift or a heavy workload for someone to be taking on that many initiatives. I don't know the full scope of some of these, so he could be fine, but I'm just like, I'm curious. Okay, I'm not getting shorter. I just wrote these different heights. Okay, so now phase 3 is execution. Now this is where the work is being done. And if I'm looking, there's a pretty big workload. Now remember my blue team member, I'm like, ooh, I was a little worried about him. So I'm wondering if he's gonna hit a lot of stuff in execution at the same time too. Also, I know I have some team members and there's a lot, I know they've got a lot going on right now, and it's just kind of the nature of what the work is, but I think it's still good. They're okay where they're at. But I do see that we all have a bunch of stuff that's in the big lift or the big workload at this time. All right, so this is the last phase. This is monitoring, and I have 2 initiatives that are in monitoring, and these are just like making sure everything is good, working any issues that may come up. So I have 1 team member with stuff in monitoring. I kind of think I might have my projects wrong, so I'll confirm this in my one-on-ones with them, but this is just kind of giving you a little bit of insight of like how I manage the workloads for my team. Make sure I'm not like setting unrealistic expectations for them, because I kind of feel a little, I don't think that's right. So I don't want to be that kind of manager. All right, so to close this out, I'm just kind of, this is the example of my Kanban board or my Kanban board and how I manage it. And just again, to reiterate, this is how I manage my team's workload and keep like a snapshot of everything in flight. So in my one-on-ones with them, when they talk, I'll say if something's moving phases, I'll just move it in that case. But this gives me a really good idea of, again, what's in flight, and also like the workload that's put on my team and how it's spread out. And this is just the active things that are in flight at this time. So if I'm looking at it, I have about 20 initiatives of all different sizes that myself and my team members are all managing actively right now. So there's obviously a lot going on. If you guys like this, let me know if you had any questions about how I set up the Kanban board, and any questions on the different phases and how I manage it. You'll see more of this as I start to build in the different areas of my life. This is just going to be one big view of everything that's going on in my life, whether it be any projects I have going on in my house or work, or I'm not going to put plan the grind on here, but you know, just anything, any financial projects I'm working on, house projects, personal growth projects, those are all going to be on here. So you might see like Duolingo, which you may have just heard this notification go off for. So thanks for watching, everyone, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the phases or how I manage this. Bye.